Hi, we're the Heart Collective based in Los Angeles, California, streaming through the universe, and I'm Taryn.
I'm Rhoda.
I'm Liz B. We are reframing definitions through heart-centered conversations.
So today we're going to be talking about integrity, which is the state of being whole and undivided, or being guided by strong character and principles. I think personally, integrity is just such a game changer and kind of the ultimate life hack, because it's like we all strive, or a lot of us strive spiritually, to have a fully integrated personality. Like your soul, your body, and your mind are integrated. Like you're moving and operating as one. And I believe that integrity in our words and actions and thoughts and behaviors and what we align with is the only real way to do that. So I just think integrity is such an interesting topic.
Self-mastery comes to mind, like when you said, when we're working on ourselves and we're integrating all these different parts, it's like strengthening your entire being. And when you think about structural integrity, what makes us as a human being, taking stock of all those different moving parts and integrating shadow, doing shadow work, and being able to allow that used to destroy us or make us not work effectively in the world, actually make it work for us, where we're able to use the lessons learned in that shadow work to even grow and give to other people, to be of service. It's almost like fertilizer.
There you go. Yeah.
You said integrate. And it makes me think of the word integral, like just something that's whole, right? As you said in the definition, and that is complete. And what if we used that concept to find our wholeness internally? Therefore, when we're acting and responding and relating, we can come from this place of presence and just complete, utter devotion to who we are at every moment. It sounded very philosophical. But the integral brought me to the sense of presence, of being whole in every moment. And it also makes me think of integrity in morals. And convictions. And I want to say righteousness, which is not necessarily a very pleasant word, but just a sense of knowing, right? That's sometimes bigger than the conceptions that we have of the world, or happenings, events, and etc. But just this really solid sense of being, that it's not from the world, but we can embody it in this body and in this world. I don't know if I made any sense.
No, it does. And I think what you said is so true. I think that we can all be, I think society is constructed in a way where, especially with social media and all the options, it's just, we live in a world of infinite options for entertainment, for distractions, for, it's like swiping on dating profiles and 600 channels of television for those of us who have TV, and you can order anything you want online, and it's just, I think that's all fine and good, but having an unshakable center point of conviction, and kind of like being, whether your true north comes from God or spirit or source, or just like your ethical compass, just being that unshakable, righteous, not in a, standing on a soapbox and everyone has to do what, I say, but just righteous, like, I know that I'm going to do the right thing. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, but having this inner guidance and compass where that's, as the definition said, whole and undivided. Your actions are aligned with your thoughts, are aligned with your words. And I feel like there's not a lot of focus put on that in society, unfortunately. It's one of those virtues that is kind of seen as churchy or old-fashioned. It is. It's like, I don't think anyone's like, I'm a person of integrity, and everyone being like, oh, you're wonderful. But I think it is wonderful that I strive personally to be a person that what you're going to get with me. I strive to be a person that my words are aligned with my actions. Am I always successful in that? Absolutely not. I'm a human. Like, most of us are. So
are we?
Yeah, I know. That's a different topic. Yeah, that's a different podcast. Yeah, next time. But I think that having that as a guiding principle in our actions and words towards ourselves and others, kind of in the way that we navigate the world and our lives, I just think I think that the people that I've observed that do that, even if they don't do it perfectly, it will change your life and the lives of those around you.
Yeah, 100%.
Just the simplicity of doing as you say you will do.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yes.
I'm also thinking of the word integral as being necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Like a necessary.
Right.
Only the necessary parts. Like you talked about 600 channels and all that. That's not necessary.
No.
And so when you're looking now, as we're looking at integrity in the collective, what is necessary? What's necessary in the systems that we would like to dismantle?
Yeah. Such a big question too. I think that, and we can look at it from the perspective, what you brought up, Rhoda, it's like, what is necessary in our own lives? What is necessary in the systems as a whole? Like, what are the guiding principles, the holistic, integral principles? And you brought up structural soundness before, which I really like, because if we look at a building and kind of use that as a metaphor to like societal structures, and then also we can look at it as ourselves, unless there's a solid foundation, like everything is eventually going to collapse. If you have black mold running through your foundation and cracks in it, good luck staying in the house, right? And I think that goes for our own lives and the systems too. It's like we need that structural soundness, and that comes from integrity, I think. And stripping down things, being simple, not in a way where we're reductionistic and basic, but simple, and not looking at simple as bad. Like simple being like only what is necessary, as you said, only what is really required. And what is that?
I look at it as in I learned this in Landmark, but like what works and what doesn't work. That's what's necessary, is what works. And sometimes what works now is not going to work in the future. But we have to consistently question that and look at it and reassess.
I love what you said about really what you see is what you get, and you walk the talk. And I've been finding that in my life, people that are not of that kind of integrity, which I do also resonate with, they're just falling away
right now
without much effort, not even like a conscious decision on my part. But there's something about an individual who is very clear about what kind of embodiment they want to bring and present.
Sure.
Right? That doesn't have to be the same as yours, but just that clarity
Mm-hmm.
and that knowing what's essential to them, and really being clear not only with themselves but others,
Sure.
and being able to give that transparency. To me now, oh, that's like gold.
Agreed.
Gold. And we sense it from a mile away. And if somebody has something kind of up the sleeve and it's very hard to read,
You feel
it's
it.
amazing how my life is just not, it's just, taking different little routes from those encounters or those interactions and those relationships, and really getting to the root of what's essential, not only with ourselves but with our relations and the things that we own and the things that we do, right? How much energy do we spend doing things that we don't want to do but we feel like we should do or have to do? Identities of ourselves that we've collected.
Right.
And then we can look at our own closets, right, and go, yeah, right? I'm not that person anymore. That's all right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And going back to what Rhoda said and what you said so eloquently, it's like you don't have to be what works now doesn't have to work in the future, but as you mentioned, Liz, like being really solid in that internal integrity and reliability, and it looks different for different people. As you said, it doesn't have to be one size fits all, but just being a person who has convictions that are virtuous is in integrity. And people who are not in alignment with integrity, I agree with you. It's just, I feel like right now energetically everything is so charged, and there are almost like a couple different timelines that have been going on. We'll get into that in a different episode. But it's just been very clear who's on one boat and who's on the other. And we're all humans, we're all learning. I know I'm not perfect. I don't know anyone who is. I don't know anyone who even strives for that. I don't know if it's obtainable. These are interesting questions, but I think people that have core flaws in their integrity, it's just a different way of operating. It's like the person you can pay to do something that they know is wrong. The person that can hurt another person or an animal or a child because they'll gain somehow out of it. It's like these are the integrity flaws that we're talking about. We're not talking about perfection or gee, I told my boss I was sick and I really needed a personal day. I mean,
right.
These are little deviations, but core flaws in people's integrities, they're just when people I think the more we grow, the more what we allow kind of becomes our character. Yeah. And those people are taking a different path, shall we say. Yeah. And it's interesting to see that. To
just let it be what it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm also feeling highly attracted to people who are really committed to truth and embodiment and like just that unwavering dedication to really like seeing beyond themselves, the structures, everything, because I feel like those are the people who I really want by my side, because that's what's going to move us to a direction of what we want to see. And if people are a little bit here and there and not really committed, this I can look at, this I can't, it's just not. I'll completely respect that and will continue to respect that, but there's just no resonance for me.
Yes.
I'm just not, I feel like time is of the essence now.
Oh,
at least I'm feeling that. It's a feeling of somewhat of an urgency of that commitment, even if you don't know where you're starting, right? But like yes, let's do this type of energy, and like yes, saying yes, and I feel the grief of that too with certain relations that I just kind of see, like, oh, I don't think this is going to go forth.
Yeah, it almost, it's not going to survive the storm.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's okay,
And
because
that's okay.
I think you're right what you said, Liz. I think right now it is very attractive. I think that we're in a very charged environment, and it's kind of like game time.
Right.
You know, and it's probably, I mean, it's going to continue to grow, but I think that integrity is so important, from aligning with what is true, what is good, people that are committed to truth, people that are committed to goodness, and people that are not going to ride the fence.
Yes.
And say, well, I'm going to do that if it suits me, but I'll, you know, I really am good, but I'm going to play that game too if
it benefits me.
Yeah. It's not an integrity.
Yeah.
No, it's not an integrity. I recently was talking to somebody who was saying that they were in a really charged environment. There was press, and somebody said, you know, it's better if you put a mask on because this is going to be broadcasted. And this person said, I'm not. I don't believe in that.
Wow.
And just to have that kind of integrity to face a world that may not agree with you at that moment, but you know what you agree with, and you know where you stand on a certain issue, and just be that.
It's a conviction.
And courage. And that's why courage keeps coming back, because all of these things we're talking about require so much courage.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right?
So much
courage.
Yeah. When we're thinking about structural integrity and the systems that are falling, or that we would like to fall, or we're working on dismantling.
Sure.
Yeah, it's you know, when you're building something new, there's a common goal, there's a common vision, and there's a common plan. And so I think that's why we're finding that we're closer to our tribe who does these things, or who lives in that truth, or is committed to finding truth, because we're building something. We're not just here to like watch those 600 channels or buy the latest pair of shoes or whatever. We want something that works for everyone, and that requires a lot of conviction and a lot of courage and strength. You know, we're building something.
Commitment. And knowing that it's like a relationship, right? When things get hard, how can you just be like, you know, we'll come back when things get a little better? Like, you have to make things better yourself, right? Yeah. Or your partner is not giving you the attention that you would like to be given. Well, when you're ready to give me the attention, just give me a ring. No, like, how is that going to work?
Not. Yeah.
Right? So what kind of commitment do you have with who you are, who you are at your core, and having that self-exploration to really want to know oneself, to face the shadows, to look in the mirror and see the incongruences, to notice moments or behaviors that are not in alignment with that total awareness that you want to present the world with, to have compassion, and to also know, I need to shake this a little bit more because it's still there.
So true. And I like the example you used of the relationship, because it's like relationships with ourselves or our partners or anyone else. It's like a garden. You have to continually water. You can't just like say, I like my garden when it's, you know, in bloom and beautiful. Otherwise, I'm just going to go inside and ignore it, and it's going to take care of itself. Things don't work that way. So it's like a commitment. But having that internal integrity and true north within yourself, or, you know, whatever you find that in, I think that's something we can always come back and recalibrate things with. And just be like, oh, I didn't like what I did there, and you know, I could have treated my partner or my colleague better, or I could have been better in that situation. It wasn't in alignment with, you know, being completely honest or whatever it is, and going back to that and recalibrating based upon that to become a better person and a better partner or coworker or employer, whatever it is. You know, we all wear many hats. And I think that one of the mottos at Heart Collective is earth, peace, through self-peace. And I think that it's the same, like we're microcosms of the macrocosm, right? So we have to, it starts with us. We can't say, well, the world sucks, I don't like the way anything is done, yet I'm not really going to look at myself and have integrity in my own words, actions, and behaviors and thoughts. Things just require a lot more effort in this world than that. And when it is tough and it doesn't feel good, I think knowing that work has been done and we do have access to that central core can help us weather the storm and rebuild and see what needs excavation. I think right now many of us and collectively, like, we're still excavating what's going on, like kind of like, what happened, how did we get here, what's really going on? And there is going to be a lot of excavation, and I think that as you said previously, Liz, the only way out is through. And having that strong center and core and solid foundation is going to really get people through, I think. And surrounding ourselves with like-minded people. And if some of us may find that we're isolated, like we're in a boat alone, because people have drifted away that haven't been in integrity, or maybe we haven't been living that way. But the good thing is you can always change.
Oh, yeah. And interestingly enough, you'll attract other people that are in that same frequency, right? Either you like it, either you consciously put forth the effort or not, because all of a sudden you'll start having conversations, either, personally or, online, social, whatever, however that comes, and you're like, wow, wait a minute. Or you see yourself through other people's actions and voices, and you know that you are represented in some way. And I think that everyone matters in this conversation.
Oh yeah,
it's very important to think that we've lost touch with being able to debate and articulate and talk, especially when we don't disagree.
Yes.
And so being able, we're living through very charged times, and without expecting the times to not be as charged, how can we first and foremost decide we want to hear another person, decide that we want to engage and understand where they're coming from, before we can just say, well, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong. That's wrong. Right? Somebody's coming from somewhere to have aligned with a certain thought or idea that they think represents, especially, let's say, politically right now. It's so charged. How much are you willing to really understand about yourself? Why do I align with this? And why do I think this person represents me better versus that other person? And I find it's really distressful to me right now is that people have allowed for censorship, control, as long as it is against, or as long as it's for their opposing view. Right? So it's like, no, it's okay. Well, that should be taken down, or that should not be published.
Right.
But you're saying that because you don't agree with that.
Right.
So fundamentally, I think we're facing a redefinition of what does freedom mean to you. Because the freedom I want for myself, I want for you, and that's huge for me right now. It's integrity with that. I don't want you to be censored because I do not agree with what you have to say.
Right.
I don't want you to not have a platform because I think that you haven't done your research enough.
Right.
Right? And people are justifying so many things because they think that there is a crisis that we're facing, a health crisis that we're facing. And even if that was the case, we still have to be able to coexist and understand that we're not all going to think the same way. We're not all going to agree with everything. But we have to first connect with that power within ourselves to feel responsible for ourselves, than to allow others to be responsible for themselves.
So true.
Which we're almost like at a breaking point.
Yeah.
You know, Kelly Brogan said something, the doctor, that I thought was so beautifully said. She said, government's not your daddy and modern medicine's not your mommy.
So true.
Like, we have to reclaim our own fathers and mothers, like that internal presence of really like big sovereignty and really, and it takes a lot of responsibility, right? And so we have to open ourselves up for that responsibility so then we can reclaim that kind of power, that kind of ability to trust ourselves and then others. So I feel like we're navigating times where everybody thinks that they know what's better for the other, for others. And we don't.
It's so true. None of us have, or very few of us have, all the information right now. I think there's a lot of information that is skewed or hidden, and I think that without, concrete facts, I don't think that people pushing their narratives and not being open to other possibilities is going to help growth and help that, freedom and sovereignty that you said should be extended to everyone. And it's interesting, like, I think the more you develop that integrity and alignment, that self-actualization through integrity and fully integrated personality through your integrity, the more you can hear other people. You can hear someone with a very opposing viewpoint and say, okay, what you're saying may enrage me, but you deserve to be heard, and I am smart enough to know that I could learn something from you. And I am smart enough to know that I don't know everything. And I have enough integrity to extend the respect and consideration that I would want extended to me to you. Because that's the kind of person I am, and I think that that's the kind of society we need to live in. Does it mean that everything that everyone believes should be acted upon? 150% no. Should it be heard and considered? I believe so. And having that strength within yourself is going to help not go off the handle and become unglued by hearing someone that might think something different than you do, or seeing someone walking around without a mask or with a mask, or someone who's choosing to school their children in a different way, or not take part in certain systems in the society. It's just we need to come to terms with that. Going back to strengthening that Trinity of mind, body, and spirit, so we're not swayed by identity, whatever that is, right? Identity religion, identity politics, identity schooling, identity whatever. So at every moment your own source of integrity, your own center, so you can navigate the world without being fully swayed by everything that happens in the world. Otherwise, you're just, I think, not really living your true potential. So true. So true. And it's a muscle. It's like muscle memory. It's like developing any other muscle. Right? That integration, that Trinity, as you mentioned, I think, and the more we trust that and strengthen it, the more it can serve us and guide us.
Yeah, that's the foundation. It's necessary. That core strength.
Yeah. And very useful now and in coming times.
True.
Yeah. So we can even jump onto what do we do to strengthen that connection? Because we've been conditioned to trust our minds, but don't trust your heart. Trust what you think, trust quote unquote facts. There is an over-rationalization of our society and a trust put in an organ that is wonderful as a servant, but not as a master.
So true.
And so how do we, when we say, I had a gut feeling, it's literally because your gut has more receptors to connecting things and sending signals, and that's where you feel it. So how do we connect and start to first clean out the debris, right? There's so much cleansing that needs to be done of the things that are just being like dumped on us. And then fine-tune those 3 centers, which is, I would say the mind, the heart, and the gut. The gut brain, the heart brain, the brain. So they can work together without this overlapping, without this one being the ruler over another, but working together so we can be, again, in integrity with these major centers that can give us a lot of answers and guidance.
Oh, yeah.
And connection.
Yeah, and I think that, as you mentioned, clearing out things that are blockages, it's like it can be as simple as clearing out the food that deadens and numbs our gut brain. It can be removing what we're numbing ourselves with, and then looking, although it may hurt very much, why we're numbing ourselves. I think removing, trauma, working through trauma, looking, and we've spoken about previously about awareness, really being aware and being in integrity with your view of your personal reality. What is working, what isn't? What is the truth and what isn't the truth? And just because it's the right thing to believe, or you think you're doing the right thing by believing someone is a good person, or believing you were taught something, so it must be the right thing, because you certainly can't go against your parents and what they would think. You'll make them wrong.
Right.
Kind of getting over all that and saying, no, what's true in the very objective sense, and what is keeping you from that truth, and taking off the blinders, taking off the veils, maybe seeing people for who they are. If you have a friend or a coworker or a partner that's out of integrity, seeing that and not saying, oh, but they're a good person.
Right.
Just saying, okay, maybe there's this behavior I need to look at.
Yeah.
And I think that clears. I think that it hurts and it can be painful and it can be a long process, but removing all those, things that numb us out and distract us and keep us from our own real wisdom that all of us have, not some of us who are healers or psychics, or it's all of us are born with this. It's just things that we haven't maybe used to their full capacity.
Yeah. I think it's being having a roadmap and being very clear, like almost a manifesto of like a universal truth or goal that you want to stand for. What are the values that you stand for? What do you want to create in your life, in this little precious life that we have right now? And then making it so strong and so clear in your mind that you know exactly the road that you want to be on and who you want to be on that road with.
So true. And aligning your thoughts, beliefs, actions, words, aligning everything with that manifesto that you wisely suggested. And maybe having to bring in more of what works and what is aligned, and maybe letting some things that aren't aligned graciously slip away. And that's okay. Life is always an evolution.
Right.
Yeah.
But staying aligned with that core central principle and really allowing your body to do the work that we're all built to do is to have that internal guiding principle.
Yeah.
And look at things and say, yes, that is right, or no, that isn't right, and I don't care who's telling me it is.
Wow, that brings me to a very essential thing, which is when kids say, well, you're not the boss of me. I think that's a good slogan for 2020.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me.
We all
In
need
a
these
really
t-shirts.
funny way, but in essence, be your own boss. Really know what you stand for. Really know how to walk that line with compassion for others that may not walk that line with you, but do no harm and take no shit.
Perfect.
Maybe that's our quote.
Yeah.
For integrity.
That's our ending quote, folks.
Because more than ever, it's not, you don't have to get out. Stay on your lane,
Yep.
Yes.
Really, like when you said roadmap, it just made me think of people that are so clear that they trust their process, they're trusting others' process, and they're not going to create distress and chaos outside of themselves. But they'll find reasons to create peace, to create compassion, because that's in integrity with who they really are.
Yes.
It gives birth to faith, really. Faith that things that you will get there.
And maybe the process isn't clear.
Yes.
Maybe it doesn't feel good,
Right.
but it is part of the process if you're guided by that integrity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you're right, you stay in your lane, you stay on your path, and you are guided through, maybe difficult terrain, but you'll get there.
Yeah. Thank you for spending some time with us today, and time with yourself. And write down your manifesto and kind of world you want to live in and create, and just do it, be it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are the Heart Collective.
The Heart Collective is an initiative based in Los Angeles, California, and working globally to foster self-actualization and earth peace via self-peace through our nonprofit offerings and workshops. You can find us online at heartcollective.org, on Instagram at heart.collective, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.